Now, before I start playing this game, I would like to preface this by saying that I have a pretty big bias towards paleontological or scientific accuracy. I grew up with watching things like Walking with Dinosaurs, uh, When Dinosaurs Roamed America, among others, dinosaur documentaries that I don't even remember the name anymore. I think the other ones were things like uh, the Ultimate Dinosaur documentary or something like that. It included things like Planet Dinosaur and among other things, many of which are outdated by today's standards. But regardless, I also grew up going to a whole bunch of museums. I used to live in Texas, but my parents, I was fortunate enough that my parents would just take me on road trips all the way to places like South Dakota, North Dakota, Utah, even Chicago. So I've seen, you know, the famous Sioux skeleton. I have seen, I've been to Dino Depot. That's a place in the Midwest, somewhere around there. It's in the Rocky Mountains. But, right. The point is, I'm aware that Saurian isn't exactly well received. I'm aware that the development progress is very slow. They basically only put out updates every 2 or 3 years, and by game standards, that is slow. That's true. And um, as mentioned in the recent Shift TV video, the development the development team do seem to tend to put money, too much money and effort and time into just making models as scientifically accurate as possible while not putting much effort into things like gameplay or optimization, although they have improved those significantly in the past. But I think I'll make an exception for this game. If you've seen my other videos regarding dinosaur games, I think you'll notice that I don't really like Path of Titans, which is also another dinosaur game with relatively accurate models, especially with Spinosaurus and Dinochirus and things like that. Um, but I don't like that game. I don't like that game because it really puts me out of, the immersion by having all the quests just be, picking up acorns and flowers without any, significant impact on, things like diet, which would be something significant in the ethology of, animals or vertebrate animals in general. But in the case of Saurian, I think looking at the gameplay footage so far on YouTube, I think I'm uh, think I'm trying to see this more like a museum simulation rather than like a full-fledged game. And it's completely fine to disagree with that. That's fine. Because it is marketed as a game. And there are a lot of, you know, just lackluster things, lackluster game mechanics. I'm aware that one of the biggest rosters in the Kickstarter, which was the Tyrannosaurus Rex playable, it's still in development. My guess is that it's going to be released in the next year or two, probably 2 years, 3 years at max. That's my guess. But yeah, I should also say that I think I have a lot of passion for just simulations in general. Um, in my undergrad, I put a lot of effort into doing research projects that were related to deep reinforcement learning. It's a type of AI that it's modeled after how animals or humans sort of learn to do tasks by trial and error. So, for example, you could use reinforcement learning to train a humanoid robot or simulation of it in a physics engine to walk, do bipedal walking via trial and error. And I think that's fascinating. And I'm in grad school right now, and if I don't get kicked out of my college, which is, you know, totally in the realm of possibility, I will probably keep sort of learning more about multi-agent simulations. You know, in the context of Saurian, that would be something like, you know, how herds move, how, you know, singular carnivores hunt, the perception. If you're using evolutionary algorithm, you could also extend this to things like how they evolved, both morphologically and in movement. So, if I even get to see some sort of herd mechanic and arbitrary hunting mechanic, chasing mechanic, any of those sorts, I'll be happy with it. Honestly, probably. I mean, I'll never know until I hit the new game button, but I'll preface with that. Enough with me just talking in silence. I'm gonna put the game audio on. By the way, the soundtrack. I think this is awesome. I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit because it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Let's see how it is on Okay. That sounds about right. You know, it already excites me that we already have an Encyclopedia segment. I would like to see what this is about. Archaeoraptor, tyrannosaurus, no, Tyorum, 2 meters, 18 kilograms, carnivore. Archaeoraptor Hellsplunder is close relative to the famous Velociraptor. It is definitely small. Despite their diminutive size, I'm sorry, my reading skills are sort of just, they've plummeted since I got out of, high school, and I just don't really read to people anymore. Archaeoraptors are aggressive, often fighting and sometimes killing other members of their own species in conflict over territory or prey. They display a preference towards a more solitary lifestyle than the larger dakotaraptor, preferring to tackle prey on their own. Archaeoraptor are opportunistic, taking a mixture of small and large prey, as well as carrion. These common predators are a scourge on young juvenile dinosaurs. So this, all of these things already sort of overlap with, I guess, the minimal things that I know about dinosaurs. I'm aware that, dromaeosaurs or other, I guess, mid-sized carnivores were thought to hunt in packs, but in a relatively recent study, I think in the late 2010s, definitely after 2015, the current consensus is that they actually didn't hunt in packs, and like how it says here, they were probably a lot more solitary. That's pretty cool. I should also note that dakotaraptor, it might become a dubious species. There's a lot of drama with it, with how the person who discovered it was outed to have plagiarized the paper, which is really, really bad in academia. Hold on, I'm gonna get my some light source because I'm playing in the dark. Okay. So, yep, Archaeoraptor, dakotaraptor. With a body length of up to 6 meters, dakotaraptor is one of the largest members of the raptor family, dromaeosaur, to have ever lived. Well, I mean, doesn't that go to the utahraptor? But it's fine. Despite its size, dakotaraptor retains the sleeker, long-legged build of smaller relatives. Dakotaraptor uses its trademark giant talons not as slashing weapons, but as hooks. I see. Right, hooks for grasping prey with its feet while flapping its huge wings to keep itself stabilized. It is at this point the animal will begin to feed while its prey is still alive. This technique is known as raptor prey restraint. Funnily enough, in Jurassic Park novel, I do remember seeing something like this with velociraptors. Obviously, that book and the film is pretty lacking in terms of accuracy, but uh, I I do distinctly remember having a scene where the Velociraptor just tears park members' stomach apart and just start eating the intestines while they are still alive. Pretty grotesque scene, but it's interesting nonetheless. This guy can probably just like rip my arm off with a single bite. Pretty scary. Okay, ornithomimid. Okay, I see. It's composed of, yeah, ornithomimus and struthormimus. Fast ostrich-like ornithomimid is a ubiquitous sight in the more open areas of the floodplain, while paleontologists have referred to this animal as both a species of ornithomimus and struthiomimus. Its true relationship remains unclear. With a top speed of over 50 kilometers per hour, ornithomimids are the fastest animals in Hell Creek and among the fastest of all dinosaurs. Right. Ornithomimids display a mostly herbivorous diet. However, ornithomimids will also take animal foods such as lizards, mammals, and eggs. Omnivore. Okay, this is an omnivore. If I remember correctly, most herbivores in the animal kingdom aren't, I guess, strictly plant eating. They sometimes take nutrients from things like carcasses, skeletons, or things like calcium that you can't really find in plants necessarily. Right. I'm not sure. I don't remember what they were called. Let me just look it up. Um, all right. To break the silence, I'm probably gonna just put this in the comment section or something, maybe in the description. But there definitely was a word for it. Yeah, basically most animals aren't strictly carnivores or strictly herbivores. Right. And it is what it is. Alright, pachycephalosaurs. Nice. Alright. Pachycephalosaurs, thick-headed saurian, are famous for their unique domed skulls. These are the staple small herbivore of Hell Creek and the most common dinosaur on the floodplain, without the grinding teeth of larger animals. Pachycephalosaurs are limited to softer plants that they can easily shred. The skull of Pachycephalosaurus changes a lot with age, with dome developing only later in stage. Okay, interesting. This leads to some confusion among paleontologists, with younger specimens being initially classified as their own species. I'm going to assume that they're talking about things like Tricorex. I'm pretty sure that's dubious right now. I don't believe Stiglomock, or whatever they call it. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure that one's not dubious. Uh, in addition to this, if you've seen Prehistoric Planet, right, for a long time, pachycephalosaurs were thought to not have used their head for combat. This is due to, I guess, how thin or fragile their skull seems to be. But in a recent study, they found that there were marks of other pachycephalosaur heads on their skull, indicating that they actually did fight by just colliding skull with skull. That's pretty cool. Thesalosaurus neglectus. Neglectus, like the game itself? I don't know. Thesalosaurus, wondrous Saurian, is the most diminutive of the helicreeked herbivores. This makes the animal its common prey item for most carnivores. What is the classification? Thesalosaurus, secret animals preferring to hide in dense foliage surrounding water sources. Thesalosaurus use strongly curved claws and powerful forelimbs as scratch-digging tools to unearth nutritious roots and tubers. Bony plates under the skin are used as defense against the flank-butting behavior of adult males. Bony plates? There are bony plates under there? That's fascinating. Okay, let me just quickly look up I guess there are subclasses and things like that. Neo-ornithischian dinosaur. Okay. Reproduces. That's not surprising. Oh, it's its own family. I've actually never heard of it. That's very interesting. Okay. And they had bony, I guess, skin. That's interesting. I guess they're covered in feathers. Right, yeah, herbivore that just hides. Right, the triceratops. This is actually, yeah. Wait. What? Did we have this in... That is sick. There's ontology here. That is sick. Okay, come on. That's cool. That looks like the head from Prehistoric Planet. Specifically season 1. The coloring's different, but no one knows what the colors were. Triceratops, 3-horned face, is one of the most recognizable non-avian dinosaurs. These animals inhabit stretches of open prairies or marshlands in small herds, where they feed on ferns and woody shrubs. Triceratops are extremely tenacious and aggressive in temperament. Do we know this? I guess they're basing this off of things like rhinoceros and other animals with similar morphology, at least in appearance. Specimens have been observed surviving on with their horns, tails, and even snouts partially bitten off. This gives very old animals with their denuded brow horns and various scars a hardened, battle-worn character. Even adult T-Rex must take caution of these brutes. Right, the last sentence was featured heavily in Prehistoric Planet 2, the last episode, I think. North America, they had like an entire section about Triceratops. And how, you know, depending on the age and depending on the individuals and their age, combat experience, they just have different horns, different shaped horns. That's very interesting. One more thing that I would like to note is that their jaw. Don't remember if you can see the cursor, but if you look at their jaw from the outside, it just looks like, you know, something similar to mammals. You might, you know, imagine them chewing on plants, just things like that. But in reality, if you look at their dental battery, they actually can't chew. They're designed to sort of be shaped like shears. Right. Right. They're designed like shears. You can. I got to see this in when I went to the natural history of American history. American Museum Natural History. They had like an entire segment sort of just focused on Triceratops dental batteries. Right. The idea originates from a very old paper. You can probably look it up on the internet. I don't remember if I got it for free or if I got it through the university, but right, basically. So, you know those frills, those giant frills that no one knows how they're used. Well, people say that it's for display and, you know, defense, and that's probably true. But there's one more function that we don't really talk about that much. That function is jaw muscle. Basically, that huge surface area of the frill can support the jaw. And if you look at, you know, how the lever works in Triceratops, it turns out that, I guess, chewing in front of the focal point, or I guess the point where, you know, the rotation happens. If you go further right in this in the image that we're seeing right now, you'll find that it's actually not really efficient to sort of chomp on plants or anything that comes into its mouth. So what they do is, well, they probably use, you know, the front beak for cracking shells or something like that. But the dental battery is actually all the way back in their jaws. It's behind the focal point. It works like a shear. Yeah, it looks like a shear. You know how like nutcrackers, they sort of uh yeah, they sort of have like you hold the lever or the handle, and between the focal point and the handle you have the nut, and that's how you crack it open. So it works like that. I don't remember what type of lever this is called. It's been a while since I took physics. It doesn't really have a lot to do with deep reinforcement learning in general. But yeah, they have shear-like batteries, dental batteries. Their frills are used as muscles. That's one of uh, their uses. Right. Um, so people say that the triceratops horns are too fragile for combat. Um, this is definitely still debated. But in the case of this encyclopedia, which is probably pretty well researched, they probably used it for combat. It's just that they might be fragile, but they were able to grow it back, which is very nice. Tyrannosaurus Rex, the fucking OP dinosaur. uh, in contrary to Jurassic Park and Sam Neill's character, uh, Tyrannosaurus had very good eyesight, better than any eagles or any animal that we have the impression of having really good eyesight. It also has pretty strong feet for, not sure about running, but doing locomotion on a speed that's high enough to catch large prey. Maybe things like triceratops or some sort of hadrosaur. Um, it is the largest animals. It also has great hearing. Yeah, I told you this dinosaur is just absolutely overpowered. That is insane. It's a mystery to me how this animal didn't, in fact, just completely mess up the ecosystem. Maybe they needed a lot of food to survive, and that might be why. That might have been what kept their population capacity lower, so that not everyone dies. That could be something. I don't know. A lot of Volterra models and logistic functions or logistic maps are used to, I guess, sort of simulate, population dynamics of animals. They're definitely used for extant animals as well, but it would be pretty interesting to see how they work in extinct animals. Unfortunately, we don't really know the population of these creatures, so we don't get to do that, which is a shame. Right, possesses fine ocular vision, acute hearing, and an incredible sense of smell. Although adult T-Rex are enormous, bulky powerhouses, young tyrannosaurs are extremely lithe in comparison, with thin snouts and long ostrich-like legs used for pursuing fast prey. There are a lot of documentaries or just depictions in documentaries that depict them hunting in a sort of a strategic way. They would send the young tyrannosaurus to sort of chase the prey and then sort of lead the prey to the mother or the adult. And the adult, with their strong bite force, would sort of ambush them, and the prey's dead. As you know, Tyrannosaur bite force is exceptional. I'm assuming that we're gonna see ontology of this guy a lot more, or as a list in here once we get this as a playable 3 years later. Huh. The Palmas ornithoron. During the late Cretaceous, the group, including all modern birds, appeared and began to diversify. Those in Hell Creek occupy a water marginal habitat, okay, much like modern waders. Wide thin toes allow them to walk over soft mud, while a narrow bill is used to probe for seeds and small invertebrates. While this group of dinosaurs survived the Great Extinction, okay, and has been linked their close ties to water, incredibly fast growth rates, and ability to feed seeds, their survival likely owes to a combination of these factors with a little luck thrown in. Okay, it's like ornithoron. I'm probably not gonna remember that name. Orealisuchus. This was in Prehistoric Planet, I think. That's awesome that it's also here. Crocodilians are some of the most common and important members of the Hell Creek ecosystem, and Orealisuchus, northern crocodile, is the most abundant of them all. This animal lives much like the crocodiles of today, lurking below the surface of swamps and rivers, waiting to ambush prey that venture too close to the water's edge. This ancient species is close to the ancestors of all modern crocodilians, and its genus survived on long after the extinction that ended the age of dinosaurs. So this guy's the origin? I thought they broke up somewhere, but I guess this is the ancestor of crocodilians. Orealisuchus. Awesome. Alright, well, this just straight up looks like an American alligator. The second crocodilian of Hell Creek is somewhat strange. Brachycampsta. Short crocodile. This ancient relative of modern alligators and caimans survived the mass extinction 66 million years ago, much like the larger Borealisuchus. This crocodilian can be distinguished by its wide, rounded snout and bizarre blunt teeth, which it utilizes to crush the hard shells of Hell Creek's abundant turtle population. This behavior gives Brachychampsta its own niche, avoiding direct competition with Orealisuchus. Hard shells of turtle populations, okay. So I'm assuming that this guy hunted things that are like dinosaurs or birds, etc., I guess. avoiding direct competition with Rheosuchus. We can rotate this, I didn't know that. Awesome. Rheosuchus. Not Rheosuchus, Brachycampsta. Right, so if you know anything about logistics maths, having two predators competing each other it's bad news for the population dynamics. They tend to just one of them tends to just go extinct. It's very unstable. Yeah, this is one reason why people sometimes use the word ecological niche. In the book Triple Helix, the author argues that ecological niche isn't really a thing, which I guess it's true if you look at it from a mathematical perspective. It's merely just having a semi-stable population dynamics, and you also have to consider that they interact with the environment as well. One of the examples given in the book Triple Helix was that a certain kind of animal was, I guess, living in a species A. Let's just call it species A. I don't really remember the name. Species A was living in a deserted area, and species B was living in an area with moisture. And for a long time, people thought that species B, living in moisture, prefers to live in those kind of areas, and species A would live in, or not, species A living in deserted areas prefer dry climates. But it turns out that species A was living in dry climates because they, in fact, liked moisture, and the environment was affected because they were consuming so much moisture from the environment. And the opposite was true for species B. I'm gonna stand up and go fetch my notebook. Okay, hold on. Where is it? I hope I don't turn my computer off on accident. Sorry if I'm being silent. I just want to take a double check, using my notebook. I don't really want to cut this video. It's a little bit too much of a hassle. Just takes time for it to export. Found it. It's a type of fly. Drosophila pseudo-obscura. Flies that prefer the wetter climate normally live in the dry climate region. The flies change the environment. That's what it says in the notes. I think that's very interesting. Right. I don't think we can know for sure if Hell Creek animals did this, but it's just a nice thing to add on to the discussion. Oh. There are even small animals in here? That's pretty cool. While most Cretaceous lizards are very small, hiding amongst the foliage, avoiding detection from dinosaurian fauna, a very common lizard at Hell Creek, Chamops cygnus, reaches more than half-meter long, which puts it on the menu for many young and small carnivorous dinosaurs. Chamops and other, maybe it's Camops, might have butchered it, and most other Hell Creek lizards are part of the extinct group Paleontology. Properly. The group is long considered to be close to whip-tailed lizards, but recent research indicates that they may actually be closer to iguanas. Iguana, prehistoric iguana. Alright. I like how his head moves. Nice. This guy's animation looks dynamic, and that's so cool. Although it can grow as large as the Komodo dragon, Paleosaurus, ancient Sanoa, is actually an early relative of the modern Gila monster, Saurian. Okay, like it's probably some sort of monitor lizard. Like its modern relatives, Paleosanoa is venomous. I don't remember where the venom comes from. I believe it was from things like bacteria inside the mouth from eating all that meat. I don't think it was something like, something like snakes, venomous snakes, that just have like this, was essentially a chemical weapon inside their body. Alright, this feature is used for defense more than prey capture, latching onto threats with its hooked teeth, while glands on this lower jaw. Never mind. Lower jaw excrete venom into the wound. Okay, this animal acts primarily as a specialized raider of dinosaur nests, making Paleosanoa a primary enemy of hatchling stage dinosaurs and protective parents. Okay, I see. It's like the first boss of this game. Cool. Basilamus. King turtle belongs to a family of early turtles that are now entirely extinct. Not gonna attempt to read that. Basilamus is a bit of an enigma with a carapace similar to aquatic turtles, but the limbs and beak. Maybe carapace. That's the shell. Is that the shell? I'm just gonna look it up. Hold on. This is probably like something that everyone knows. I'm an idiot. So. Bony or well, it's like the bony case or shield covering the back part. Okay, it's the shell. It's the shell. Similar to aquatic turtles with the limbs and beak of terrestrial herbivore. Which one? Like a tort. Oh, okay, okay. Like a tortoise. Okay, okay. Unlike its mostly aquatic brethren, uh, Basilamus. Basilamus? I don't know. Occupies the Hull Creek floodplains, feeding on low-growing plants. It is also a relatively large animal, matching Pachycephalosaurs in size, with shell length averaging around a meter. Sick. Okay. Ooh. First Hadrosaur, usually known as Ankylosaurus annectens, Ankylosaurus, Saurian, are the quintessential duck-billed dinosaur. They're common for such large animals, but generally favor more inland locations than the triceratops-dominated coast. Browsers, not grazers, and the famous duck-like bill is used to crop leaves and shoots, which are then worn down by batteries of hundreds of teeth. Yes, Hadrosaurus. Right, the batteries of Hadrosaurus is something different from the Triceratops, which I described earlier as sheath-like or shear-like. Let me find the picture for it. This is also in the American History National Museum. Featured right next to the Triceratops. Did I forget to take a picture of it? I don't remember. Oh, hold on. In duckbills, teeth are arranged in a series of abutting columns, each one containing several replacement teeth. When the animal chewed, the upper and lower teeth did not simply slide past one another, as in most dinosaurs. Instead, the teeth formed a rasp-like chewing surface, crushing and grinding vegetation when the jaws closed. Interesting. Okay. It's more flat than the triceratops. Crushing and chewing. Okay. Instead of grinding. Right. What am I? Hadrosaurs show some favor towards the meal of conifers, which they alone can reach to a greater extent than the other herbivores of Hell Creek. Ankylosaurus. Nice. I like the coloring. I mean, it looks like the one from Path of Titans, but I mean, they're modeled after the same species, so that shouldn't be a problem. The great armored dinosaur Ankylosaurus, stiffened Saurian are rare dinosaurs in Hell Creek, favoring an upland habitat away from the coast, feeding on soft, low-growing vegetation such as ferns, such as ferns. Um, Ankylosaurus possesses a large muscular tongue used to manipulate food. The famous club tail is used by the animal as predator-prey deterrent, capable of shattering bones upon impact. While adults are rarely bothered by predators, young ankylosaurus scootlings are vulnerable due to their still-forming armor. Makes sense. Pectinodon. This was in Prehistoric Planet. I remember. Oh, you should listen to the Prehistoric Planet Season 2 soundtrack. The theme for this dinosaur is pretty, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, let's see what they have to say. Pectinodon, comb-tooth, are small predatory dinosaurs specialized on a nocturnal lifestyle. Their large forward-facing eyes and acute hearing abilities make them especially adept at hunting prey at night, almost like a flightless owl. It specializes in small animals, its long legs allowing it to chase down prey before dispatching them with the large claws on its feet. Pectinodon are omnivorous. However, will also take plants and eggs. Was that supposed to be carnivorous? Pectinodon are carnivorous, however, and will also take. Oh wait, no, sorry. However, ignore that. Pectinodon is thought to be one of the smartest non-avian dinosaurs. Is this a troodontis? Let me see. It is. It's a troodontid. Troodontids are sometimes were some of the troodontids were definitely mentioned in the Path of Titans. Let me see. Is there anything? Troodon, yeah, Pectinodon is here. Right, and in the case of Path of Titans, there's Latin Vanatrix. People just call them Latins. And I don't remember the other one because I don't care about Path of Titans. Alright, next one. So yeah, that's basically what's going on. There's another ankylosaurus. Interesting. Dinosaurus represents the last surviving member of a family called the Notosaurid. Notosaurids lack the tail club that is iconic to the larger ankylosaurus. Regardless, Dinosaurus is still heavily armored. Its body is covered in bony osteoderms, including a pair of large forward-facing spines on its shoulders. Dinosaurus possesses a surprisingly powerful sense of smell, almost on par with that of Tyrannosaurus. Really? Huh. I didn't know that. They have a powerful sense of smell. Is it just specialized in Denversaurus, or just the entirety of Nosaurid? I don't know. This is used to seek out the herbivore's favored food items, compensating for its relatively poor sight and hearing. Where is it? They don't really say anything about sense and eyesight and things like that. But hey, this guy's from Denver. Okay. Didelphodon. This was in Walking with Dinosaurs. Metatherians, the group of mammals containing all of today's marsupials, were diverse by the end of the Cretaceous. The cat-sized beast Didelphodon, a possum tooth, measured over a meter long, including its tail, weighed up to 5 kilograms. This makes it quite hefty for a Mesozoic animal. Didelphodon also possesses an extremely powerful bite force for its size, one of the highest of all known mammals, helping it to become one of the earliest marsupials to become an active predator scavenger. There's even fish? The gar genus, Lepisosteus, maybe, is extraordinarily long-lived, with fossils known from as early as the Jurassic and 4 species still living today. The hard scales of this primitive fish are some of the most common fossils found in Hull Creek, like the modern species. Hull Creek Lepsosteus, no, I give up, inhabits shallow, slow-moving waters in the floodplain. Being ambush predators, they seek areas with high abundance of aquatic vegetation, which is used for cover. The gar. Quetzalcoatlus in here? This game is already hyping me up. What the heck? Let me check it out. Despite its bird-like beak, Quetzalcoatlus is not a dinosaur. Yeah, but one of the last pterosaurs. Quetzalcoatlus did not hunt fish at sea, but it instead is a land-based predator, hunting like a modern stork. These pterosaurs can be seen in the urban areas and floodplains, probing the ground cover for small animals, including baby dinosaurs. They're still capable flyers and must be, as they are vulnerable prey to dinosaur predators. Okay, so they have feathers there too, like they should. Interestingly, Tyrannosaurus model is already kind of outdated, but honestly, I don't really mind. Well, maybe I do, but actually, I kind of do mind. I mean, I know that they should finish the roster first, but yeah, I guess that does matter a little bit. Campsosaurus. Not to be confused with Camptosaurus. Crocodile Saurian is extremely similar to crocodilians in body form and behavior. However, this animal is not. It's a convergent evolution? Interesting, okay. but a member of a far more ancient brand of reptile that has left no living relatives. I can't see with this guy standing there. The less common in the study area, the crocodilians proper, Campbellsaurus, are still ubiquitous throughout the waterways, snatching fish with their long, thin snouts. Although their group is now entirely gone, this animal did survive the Great Extinction and right through the Eocene some 64 million years ago. 2 million years more. Okay. Let's compare like the morphology with... Sorry, not this guy. It's not scaly, I guess. That could be the difference. That could be the difference. Doesn't have like those scaly crocodilian skin texture. Alright, onto the plants. I'm aware that they remodeled the plants after at one point while they were sort of trying to optimize the game. Body fossils of true ferns are not common in Half Creek, but the presence is heavily stated by the fossils of their pollen. Relatives of modern chain ferns are a notable component of the ground floor in forested areas. I see. Okay, so I guess having ferns would be pretty version breaking. Cannabis? No. Well, Equisetum is more common at Bone Butt. The most abundant herb in the wider Hell Creek's ecosystem are members of the cannabis. These are favorite food of small or low-feeding herbivores. Both cannabis, like, it is sweet. Bro, we're gonna get high in this game. Both cannabis-like sub-shrubs and hops-like climbers are present. It's best to avoid thickets of these herbs during forest fires. No way there are forest fires in this game. Horsetails, okay. Equisetum grow in great thickets almost anywhere sufficiently close to water. Their tubers are commonly found as fossils, and stem fragments 2 centimeters across are known from bone butt, indicating large specimens similar to the modern giant horsetail. Studies indicate these are some of the most efficient sources of energy available to herbivorous dinosaurs. What about this guy? Or, sorry, cannabis. Favored food of small okay, low feeding. We is for the little ones. Horsetails are for the big ones. Or general. Okay. During the Cretaceous and up to the Eocene, Glyptostrobus was a common tree spreading across the whole northern hemisphere. Much like Metasequoia, today it claims to existence only in small pockets of subtropical Asia, and is also almost extinct in the wild. From the same family as redwoods and taxodium, it shares the bark of the former and wide bases of the latter. wide bases of the body. It's a strange morphology. I mean, I'm used to like modern trees, you know, not having this giant base, but Mamarthia. The laurel Mamarthia is one of the most common plants in Hell Creek. Two species are present, differing leaf morphology. Mamarthia personae has simple tapered points like those of cinnamon. Wow. Mamarthia trivalis have rounded toothed leaves resembling triceratops footprints. What? This is appropriate as the tough beaks of these animals are ideal for consuming woody branches of this plant. Mamarthia. I guess this is... I'm not going to remember the morphology of these guys. Okay, Metasequoia. I guess this looks more generic compared to cannabis. Metasequoia. The dawn redwood Metasequoia have been around since the Jurassic and remained essentially unchanged today, where they are restricted to remote river valleys of China. This deciduous conifer is common at Bonebot, especially in areas of frequent flooding. Maybe the base is just like really resilient to that, as they are strongly resistant to waterlogging. Osmunda, the most abundant fossil fern spores in Hell Creek, belong to the royal fern family Osmunda. The modern cinnamon fern, Osmundastrum, is a very close relative of the species. Like Osmundastrum, these large herbs grow colonially in swampy environments. Some Osmundaceae are among the most nutritious ferns for herbivores to consume. Sequoia. Near identical to giant sequoia, Sequoiadendron giganteum. Sequoia are the most impressive trees in Hell Creek, growing to immense sizes of up to 100 meters tall, the oldest individuals. Their size and lack of nutritional value means that these plants are rarely fed upon. Hadrosaurs with their grinding dental batteries are up to the task. Taxodium. Bald cypress grow in waterlogged settings, primarily in standing water. They're famous for their cypress knees, projections of the root system visible above soil or water. These are the primary canopy tree of Bonebut, where extensive mats of their leaves, sprigs, and cones are preserved as fossils. Woodwardia. Have we seen something similar? Probably this guy. These are ferns. Body fossils of true ferns are not common in Hell Creek, but their presence is heavily stated. Okay. Relatives of modern chain ferns, Lachnaceae, are a notable component of the ground floor in forested areas. Low-browsing herbivores are fond of these as well. Their soft fonts, in particular, are sought after by ankylosaurus. Lastly, Another mainstay of the Cretaceous are the family including gingers and bananas. The Xenoboralis. These tropical ants are common in the study area in the form of the rhizomatous herb Zingiberopsis, found in the understory of redwood forests. These are favored by herbivores with shortened teeth, such as pachycephalosaurs. Pachycephalosaurs, okay. That was cool. I might call this the first recording here, and in the second recording I will go into the gameplay. The Encyclopedia segment is very nice, very nice. So see you then.